With major wildfires and a high number of calls, volunteer firefighters are crucial in keeping our community safe. That's where the San Diego Regional Fire Foundation comes in. Joining me now to talk more about the organization is Executive Director Joan Jones and Assistant Chief of Mount Laguna's Volunteer Fire Department, Susan Raimond. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Joan, let me begin with you. Your organization obviously really goes all out to help volunteer fire departments. In what way do you specifically help them?
Well, the volunteers fire departments get very little financial support from their communities. I wanted to start out by saying that the volunteer firefighters, there are about 30 of the volunteer fire departments. There are about 30 of them, and they serve in the rural San Diego County area, ranging from Rainbow and Duluth up in the north, all the way out to Borrego.
Covers a huge area.
A huge area. 60% of the county of San Diego is served by volunteer firefighters. It's about 2,500 square miles. Currently, there are about 400 volunteers, and there are 30 stations that have volunteer firefighters. So what the Regional Fire Foundation does is we raise money to provide these departments with training and equipment so that basically they can do their job, which is to support the residents and people traveling through this part of the county.
Do they get very much help from other sources? Are there other resources that they get help from, or is this the primary one?
To my knowledge, we are the only nonprofit that currently supports the volunteer firefighters. So since the foundation was formed in 1989, we've raised over $4 million.
Wow, that's great.
To provide everything from tires to fire hose to fire engines to medical and emergency equipment.
So you name it, a broad spectrum of items that I actually need.
That you need, yes.
Okay. Susan, let me ask you, from the standpoint of focusing on the rural fire departments, we're talking about a wide area in the county, and I'm just curious, it's more than just really a volunteer firefighter, isn't it? You've been in the business for 26 years doing this, and you do more than just put out fires, and I didn't realize this, and most probably people don't.
I think probably most people aren't aware of what a volunteer firefighter is, and today I want to put more of a face on the name volunteer. Our men and women who come and serve are typically between the ages of 18 and 32, and they want to be firefighters. But in order to do that, they actually have to put in 1 year of service so that they can get their what we call a Firefighter 1 certificate. Because in today's business world, the chiefs out there that hire want to be able to hire someone who already has some experience. So when they join our department, they're already an emergency medical technician. And then we go on to continue to teach them their manipulative skills and their academic skills. But we want more than that for them and from them. And so what we want to do is go ahead and provide skills they may not have, such as cooking. You need to be able to cook in a firehouse. You need to be able to, it's extremely important. And their physical fitness and their nutrition and things like communication skills, because you're going to be serving the public, and so you want to be able to communicate well with them, but also with your family members and your loved ones, because this is a tough service. This is public service, and it requires all of you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Sure.
And so there's a lot that goes into that. And so it's not just you go to college and you pick up a few classes and now you're going to be a firefighter. Yeah. It's a way of life.
Yeah. As a firefighter, the EMT side of it, who pays for the training on that?
We pay for our own training.
You pay for your own training?
Right. Well, can I surprise you with something else?
Yeah.
If you have a medical emergency and you dial 911, who pays for that? We do.
Really?
Yeah. So there now have been some grant programs put in place, and so that's not true all of the time. But there's a lot of expenses that we incur that you're simply not aware of. And coming up and serving for our community, our guys put in 96 hours a month, and they come from all over. One of my guys just moved down from Los Angeles because he wanted to be in Mount Laguna's program. And so typically anybody that serves is paying about $400 a month in fuel costs to come up and serve.
And you've been, as a volunteer fire department member for what, 26 years, and received some recognition, I understand, recently.
Yes, I was. It was such a blessing to have a Lifetime Achievement Award, and that took place a couple weeks ago, and it was an honor.
These volunteer fire departments, as we said, do a lot more than just put out fires. They're medics. I mean, Ben, you're on call, and you really have to give a lot of your time and your effort to do this, don't you?
You do. My typical work week with the department as a volunteer is between 43 and 60 hours. And then I need to go to work to earn a living somehow. But for our department and for the monies that come in, that's where San Diego Fire Foundation is so important, because they come to us when we don't have money and we have people hurting and say, what are your needs? What is it that you need? Not what do you want? You know, a flashy new vehicle or something, but what do you need? And so frequently it's just the basic things. For a lot of the departments that they're helping, it's paying the electricity bill.
Sure. So, Joan, most of your donations, again, come from where?
Our donations come from individuals and from businesses in the community.
So if someone wanted to make a donation, how would they find out about it?
So they would go onto our website, sdfirefoundation.org, to make a donation, or they could mail a check into us, the address there on the website. But a couple of things I would like to take the opportunity to talk about, if I could, and that is that we talked a lot about the location of these volunteer fire departments being out in the rural areas. I'd like people to understand that if they're traveling to Julian to get a piece of pie, going up to the Wild Animal Park, if they're going up to the Palomar Observatory and they get hurt, have a medical emergency, it's a volunteer firefighter that is going to come and help them.
And again, I don't think most people realize that. I think they just assume that San Diego Fire Department would respond, or the medics in San Diego would respond.
Well, this is part of what we're trying to do with the foundation, is to get the word out, because all people want to be safe where they go. And I think the public doesn't understand so much that you've got these volunteer people who are not paid, who have day jobs, who have families to support, yet they're providing this volunteer service because they love their community, they love what they're doing, as well as they use this as a stepping stone to become a paid career firefighter.
Yeah, well, they're already carrying a huge load with their families and their other jobs, and doing this as well is even more of a burden, but they are needed in the community, and I'm sure that they do a great job.
But if you ask the firefighters, because I did this morning, what do you want the people to know? What do you want them to know about you? What they told me is, we want them to know that we love what we're doing. You don't have to pay us for it.
Wow, that's great to say. Well, we wish you much success, and of course we hope again that people will check out your website. Again, it is
sdfirefoundation.org.
Okay, if they want to make a donation, a check, or whatever, they can give you a call or send it in.
Right, and can I talk about our scholarship program that we're kicking off?
Just a few seconds, go ahead.
So we're proud to announce today the kicking off of a scholarship program for volunteer firefighters. You can find out more information on our website, since we just have a few minutes, but we have a goal to raise $50,000 by the end of this month, end of December. We have a $25,000 donation from a donor, and to act as a match. So for every dollar that somebody puts in, it'll be doubled. So it's an effective way to double that, and then to enable these volunteers to get training either for their Fire Academy 1, which costs about $2,000 to $3,000 a year, or for paramedic school, which is $10,000 to $11,000.
All right. Well, we wish you much success in your program and your efforts this year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Still ahead on San Diego.